Hi everyone, thanks for watching our video. This is a video made by Foundation for Blind Children to talk a little bit about the ASU program teaching students with vision impairments, special education degree. And this video is for SPE 222. My name is Melanie and I work here at Foundation for Blind Children. And we have...
Hello, so my name is Jaime Pack-A-Dair and I also work here at Foundation for Blind Children.
And what's your role here at FBC?
So my role here is Director of Early Intervention, and then I help oversee the ASU TVI program.
Awesome. And I get to work alongside Jaime, helping with the success of our program, talking about what the program means. And I also get to work with students who are visually impaired. So we're going to share a little bit more about this career. And I'm going to put up my slide here. All right. So becoming a teacher of students with vision impairments, this is a very unique and wonderful career, and Jaime and I are excited to share a little bit more about what this career is like. So Jaime, I'm going to ask you a couple of myths because I know there's a lot of stereotypes out there about vision impairments, blindness. So I thought it would be cool. I'll ask you some myths and then you can kind of give us the reality or kind of what we might expect.
All right, sounds good.
So myth number 1. People who are blind see only darkness and nothing else. Is this a myth? What's the reality for this?
So this one is definitely a myth. So only about 15% of people who are legally blind are actually classified as being totally blind with no light perception. The majority of people who are considered blind can still differentiate between light and dark. So most people are able to see some things.
And I do have a couple of pictures here on the screen to talk about kind of what's going on with some different students with different vision impairments. So
this is what blindness can look like. We can have where it's very blurry and sort of grayed out. And we can have where a person is experiencing a field loss. And so what they can see becomes smaller and smaller, like they're looking through a paper towel roll. They can only see a little bit.
Which is interesting because I think most people think of blindness, they think of complete darkness, you know, not being able to see any detail. So I think that is pretty interesting. All right, I have another myth.
All right.
So some people believe that people who are blind have a sixth sense. So what's kind of the reality about this one?
Right. So people don't really have a sixth sense. Being blind does not give you a superpower. Really what happens is that people who are blind don't have a sharper sense of touch, taste, smell, sound. They're learning to pay more attention to their other senses. They're focusing in on the information that they're receiving. They're more in tune to it.
I think that's interesting. I know a lot of people have seen the movie Daredevil and they think that's a superpower. You know, maybe somebody who's blind has that as a superpower, but that makes sense, being able to be in touch with all of the other senses.
Yes.
All right, another myth for you.
Okay.
Most people who are blind are proficient in Braille. Is this true?
This is not true. So only a small percentage of people who are blind have actually learned Braille. Not everyone needs Braille, so everyone doesn't have to learn Braille. Some people or professionals say that Braille is very slow and hard to learn. This kind of can be a little bit distracting or discouraging. This discouragement can keep people who are blind from learning Braille, which is unfortunate because it is accessible.
That makes sense. So we have, it looks like a couple of pictures. So somebody reading Braille, reading the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
And it looks like somebody else reading from a video magnifier. So that makes sense what you mentioned, that some might learn, but others might be able to have assistive technology.
Correct. So right here, we have a picture of what the Braille alphabet looks like. And now if you're reading it tactually, these bumps would be raised. But if you're looking at it visually, this is what it looks like. And in the corner, we have a box that says decode this Braille word. So Melanie, what does that Braille word say?
So taking a look here, it looks like the first letter is A and the second letter B. I'm going to match that third character with L and E. So we have the word able.
Able, yes.
So that's pretty easy.
See how quick we learned that?
Yeah, super fast, not as intimidating as I thought. So another myth, most people who are blind have a guide dog. So what's the reality here?
So this is not true. Only a small percentage of people who are blind are using a guide dog. Typically, people will use a long white cane to support their mobility.
And we have a picture here of somebody using a long white cane as well as a guide dog.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have another myth
All
for
right.
you. So people who are blind can't work or hold a job.
This is absolutely not true. With the proper training and opportunity, people who are blind can work competitively. So they just need to learn those skills that they need to do their job, like everybody else. Some jobs they may work in customer service, management, education, or even the Supreme Court. So blindness is not getting in their way.
I think the Supreme Court one is pretty cool. I recently met the Supreme Court Justice from birth and have a picture of him on the screen. And I think that was pretty cool to see all of the things and accommodations and things he worked through in life to get to that high position in his career. So it looks like somebody else that is using some assistive technology to complete her job. All right, so let's see if we can. Oh no. Okay, hopefully Chloe can edit this part out. What did I do? That was weird that it went to, I didn't have it inserted. All right, so keep going here. Yep, she'll probably just have to edit that part out.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was still recording.
All right, so I have another myth. So people who are blind can't access print or handwritten materials.
Which actually people can access print or handwritten materials, but they're going to do it differently. And how are they going to do that? So computers and technology have made print accessible to people who are blind. So that computer software can really translate print into speech so that you can hear it, you know what it is. Magnify screen images. Sometimes you just need it bigger. And then enlarge text to a readable size. So printed or handwritten materials are typically accessible.
That makes sense. And we do have a picture of somebody using some technology on the phone to read the mail, as well as using a electronic braille writer, which is pretty cool. So this is essentially like pen and paper for someone with vision impairment.
Exactly. Okay, so we have a couple of pictures here, and what we're talking about now are what educational models might you work in if you want to be a teacher of students with visual impairments. So this video right here showcases a little baby that we had in our early intervention program and her story. So I'd like to share her story with you.
All right, so I'm gonna go to our next slide. There we go.
So what Hayden's mom, Kim, was referring to was our early intervention program. So this is when we support babies birth through 3 years and their families. So if you're working as a teacher of students with visual impairments, you're going to work with babies, toddlers, and their entire family, and you're going to work on teaching them how to work with their baby and promote that independence. You typically work in their home, but you might also go to their daycare, community setting, or wherever it's most convenient for the family.
That sounds like a really fun job.
It is a lot of fun. Another service delivery model is classroom. So here at Foundation for Blind Children, we have a couple of classroom-based models that our students can come to. So we have preschool where they will work on really developing their conceptual understanding, knowing those concepts, working on pre-literacy skills, so whether that is large print or braille, teaching social skills and how to interact with their peers, and then teaching them how to interact with their worlds. In our elementary program, kids are a little bit older. They're going to learn how to use their devices to then access their world. And you might be teaching Braille, assistive tech, low vision aids, self-advocacy, some independent living skills, and then showing them more of what is in their environment, their world, their community.
That's awesome. I'm going to share, oops, sorry, I skipped a slide.
So another service delivery model you might work in is a residential school. So FBC does not have a residential school, but there is one in Tucson. And this school is fully accessible with all of their educational materials. Everyone going there has a vision loss. And it becomes a very comfortable living environment, living in that world for individuals with vision loss. And there's easy instruction from a teacher or an O&M.
And another model, this is the model that I worked in for many years, is the itinerant or traveling teacher model. So this is where the student is in their local neighborhood school with maybe their siblings, their neighborhood friends, and they're able to participate in all of the activities with their sighted peers. So they still need access to the curriculum at that school, but they're living in a world built for sighted people, and they're learning how to advocate in that world. So also it's pretty cool that the world is their classroom. So they're learning about everything that they're going to encounter once they get out of school. They're learning at that school. So I get to go from school to school working with students. I drive in between, which is always a lot of fun for me. And I really enjoy having my caseload and sort of making my schedule to go work with my students. Another model that you can work in this career is being able to work with transition students. So getting to work with maybe high schoolers, some students who are going from high school into whatever comes next. So that's helping them transition into maybe their job placement, another program after high school. And you're basically teaching them, you're working with them at probably the most influential time of their life. You know, they're getting ready to go into their careers or go on to what's next, and you're really promoting them towards independence. And I think this is a really cool model to get to work in.
So when you're a TVI, you have lots of different options. You're not just teaching a little baby or a preschooler. There's the whole elementary school, high school options for you to work at also.
Yep. Do you have a favorite group that you like to work with?
Definitely the little ones. Yep. I love birth through 8. Those are my favorite. I love working with families and starting them on their journey and supporting them through the process.
That's awesome. I think that's great because I haven't worked with babies and I love working with the teens, but it's cool that you can get certified in this field, but you could go into whatever sort of works for you. Kind of going into what is this career like? Well, kind of speaking on Jamie, you've worked in early intervention and with babies in preschool, and I've worked more with the K through 12 setting. So that kind of shows this career is very flexible. You can change and mold and learn how to work in these different educational models. It's very impactful. So you get to have the impact on the life of the student, but also in that video with Hayden, getting to impact the lives of parents and families that aren't really sure how their child is going to learn if they are visually impaired. And also, I like the fact that I can work one-on-one with my students and build those relationships. It's very unique. You're thinking outside of the box, and there's pretty much always a job for you.
Always.
Wherever you go, there's always a need for a teacher of students with vision impairments.
So how can you become a teacher of students with visual impairments? If this is the career for you, what do you do? ASU is offering a bachelor's degree program in special education with that concentration in visual impairment. So the courses are taught by faculty associates from FBC and full-time ASU faculty. So you're getting the best of both worlds with your instructors. And when you graduate, you earn your institutional recommendation from ASU for your teacher certification, and you get that from the Department of Education. And your recommendation is for VI, special education, birth through 12th grade. You're also getting a certification in mild to moderate disabilities for special education, and your endorsement in structured English immersion. So a lot of things you gain in this program.
That's awesome. And also, being in a program like this, you're able to take those prereqs in years 1 and 2. Then you're going into those specific TDI courses and special ed courses for that junior, senior, or years 3 and 4 level. And then you begin teaching. But what I think is really cool about this program is you have the opportunity to do the clinical experiences, and you could do those in the classrooms here at FBC or with any of our models. And what you're getting to read your textbooks and do your assignments, and then you can apply it the next day. So most people get their internships for their career when they're in college, and maybe it's 2 to 3 months. But here you get that exposure for about 2 years, which is cool to kind of multiply that into your career. And so a couple of people that have done this program through ASU, like Adele, she said that she liked that she was able to apply what she was learning at school directly to the students she was working with at FBC, which is what I thought was pretty neat about this program. And also Lexi, she was a graduate from this program at ASU, and her favorite part was being able to work alongside mentors and seeing them in action, helping make her more confident in her teaching and in her time. And both of these ASU students got to work in our classroom models here at FBC, which was a really cool opportunity. And something I think is really cool about this ASU program is that you get to become a teacher of students with vision impairments. You can teach your students that they can overcome obstacles they never thought they would be, or never imagined they would be in. And sorry, I'm going to repeat that. Chloe, cut that part. Okay. Here I go again. Take 2. So as an ASU trained teacher of students with vision impairments, you can teach your students they can overcome any obstacle they never thought they could in places they never imagined they would be. So a couple of examples of a couple of students that are blind, maybe learning how to hike down the Grand Canyon and raft the Colorado River, not being able to see everything going on or see the rapid, but bracing it by listening to it, or teaching somebody how to sail who isn't sailing with their vision. They're using their auditory, tactile senses, or even teaching a group to that's blind to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, which is in this bottom picture. So it's really amazing the impact you can have on the lives of individuals with vision impairments, whether that's birth, you know, or in early elementary or even into adulthood. It's really cool to set people up for success.
Thank you for joining us today and learning a little bit more about our field. And if you would like to learn more, our websites and email are listed below.
Perfect. Awesome. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Jamie or I. Our work numbers are indicated on this last slide. Shoot us an email. Talk to Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College about this program, and we hope to see you guys enrolled soon. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
You. Totally talked over you. It says or instead of. Director or early intervention?
Oh, no. Okay. Oh, 22 minutes. Not bad. Okay. Stop recording.